Today we're talking about self-love and compassion, and as we do so, I want to open with a question for you. Do you think that self-love is selfish? Oftentimes in our culture, we sort of put a lens over that, right? And say that by loving yourself as being narcissistic or self-absorbed or things like that, right? We're taught to have a little bit more humility, which obviously, there's certainly a time and a place for that, but self-love and compassion are actually really essential for your overall well-being. Oftentimes we become really critical of ourselves and we become our own worst enemy, right? And our biggest competitor sometimes even. And it may never feel like enough, always feel like you should be doing more. Oftentimes when we don't have a lot of self-love, we put others' needs chronically ahead of our own. Like we never take care of ourselves because we're always focused on others around us. And it comes from a need of being accepted. It comes from a need of being loved and a desire to, or a need to try to find a source of that love outside of ourselves. But the truth is, we need to find that love within and that compassion within in order to really show up in our lives authentically, in order to really love others and be there for them. It all begins within, or I like to say, it's an inside job, right? So, with self compassion, we are giving ourselves the same kindness, the same care, the same attention that we would give a really good friend, right? A best friend or a loved one. People who have self compassion feel more connected to others. They are more emotionally intelligent. They feel happier and overall feel more satisfied with life. People who have higher self compassion also tend to feel less anxiety, less anxious, less shame, and less fear of failure. So think about it. If something happens, like maybe you get a low grade on something and you have very low love for yourself or compassion for yourself, you may really beat yourself up about that situation. And that might really bring you down and send you into a tailspin of stress or depression, right? And none of that obviously is going to serve you in your goal of being a good student, right? So if you are a little higher on that spectrum, right, of self-love and compassion, and you go through that same situation, you may be able to step back and look at it and say, wow, well, I really tried my best. This is what I did. And, I put the time aside or whatever it was, really acknowledge that you played a role in that, the best that you did. Give yourself a little grace and then you try harder next time, right? So kind of same situation, but we feel a lot better when we have more love for ourselves. And then we can show up better in the next task at hand or whatever that next step is. So how do we harness this self-love and compassion? There are many tools and things that you can do. And what I'm going to show you today is something called a loving kindness meditation. And essentially all this is saying some affirmations or some words silently to yourself in order to bring in that energy of love. Okay? So what I'm going to invite you to do now is bring one or both hands, if you feel guided, over your heart space. Close your eyes if that feels available to you. And just take a deep breath to come into the body. And what you're going to do is repeat either silently to yourself or out loud. Out loud is optimal. These words. I am enough. I am worthy of good things. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be kind to myself. May I accept myself as I am. You are enough. And just take a deep breath and feel how those words resonate for you. If you don't have a lot of self-love and compassion, if you're really beating yourself up or have low confidence or self-esteem, these words may be hard to say. They may feel fake when you try to say them or forced. And let's just give that space, right? And see that and acknowledge that and witness it, right? And know that this is a practice. Know that loving yourself and looking on yourself kindly is something that's going to come over time with intention. So remember, self-love is not selfish, it's essential, okay? I hope you have a great rest of your day and take care and be well.